This is the Shrine of a Memory project for his 351 at BCU. This is of Henry Larry Goff, who participated in the Vietnam War. This project was researched by Alexis Atkinson and Sabrina Yambao. Here we have Henry Larry Goff. This is his military headshot. He was born in January 21st, 1948. In Williamston, Martin County of North Carolina. His father was Henry Wright Goff, and his mother was Mildred Louise Stevenson Goff. Based on what we found on Ancestry.com, he was an only child. It didn't seem like he had any siblings, didn't have any children after his death either. But he was survived by numerous cousins, one of which he actually went to high school with, and they all have living relatives that are currently alive. Let's get in contact. But he likely went to Oscar Smith High School in Chesapeake, Virginia, just like his wife, Louise Sue Griffin, in 1967. It's unsure of when he may have made the move with his family to Virginia. It's somewhere between his birth and him going to high school. He eventually was in Virginia. This is his wife, Louise Sue Griffin. This is her at the age of 16 in her yearbook in 1967, so this is probably what she looked like when they got married that same year. And they got married in Pasquotank, North Carolina. Here we have a record of their marriage, and you can see 1967 was when they were married. He eventually joined the Marines in 1967, that same year, at the age of 18 as a rifleman, probably called out for the Vietnam War. He was a sergeant of the Eastern Company, and he served in the 2nd Division, but he had command over the 3rd Marine Division, for the 4th Regiment and 2nd Battalion. So here we have the insignia for the 2nd Battalion, for the 3rd Marines Division. And there he served for about 3 years up until his death. His involvement in the Vietnam War was from November 22nd, 1967 until May 25th, 1968. It is likely that he participated in a lot of important battles, including the Battle of Tam Kai, which was an overnight attack on the Vietnamese side. From March 3rd to 6th of 1968, the Tet Offensive was a really big one that he had involvement in January 31st, 1968, and it did continue into September 23rd, 1968. So he probably didn't continue to fight into that portion of it, but he definitely, in the first kind of months of the Tet Offensive, he was a part of that. The May Offensive is the one that probably he had the most involvement in, which from April 29th to May 30th is when this occurred, and it was actually the deadliest month of the war, and he actually did pass in this war. He died at the age of 20 on May 25th, 1968, so just near the very end of that May Offensive. He was reported to have been killed in action in Quang Tri province of South Vietnam, where they were all stationed during this battle. He was reportedly shot or had a small arms fire, and he did not make it off the battlefield. He died on the battlefield. And so, because the May Offensive lasted from April 29th and 30th, it's safe to assume that he was among one of the 2,169 U.S. soldiers who were killed in May. Here we can also see his gravestone. The first one was a picture uploaded on to Find a Grave by a user named Dottie. And you can see that it has when his birth and death date on that. And below, you can see an image that Sabrina took in Norfolk of the plate that goes into the ground for the grave. So he was buried in Norfolk. I don't know if that was because that's where his parents were living during the time, or if it was where his wife was, but that was where he was laid down, and his parents are actually buried, I believe, right beside him. So they are close by as well. And here you can see a newspaper clipping of the death announcement of these 3 servicemen who happened to die along with Henry in that were kind of lived in the same area as he did. And so just kind of to show that he was involved in like Virginia, Hopewell, Petersburg area. This is where he did kind of live. Yeah, so that is all the information that we were able to find on him. No information on the job, likely because of him being in high school still, and just very little information on his wife. We were able to go and find where she lived at the time, but there was no one there to kind of see if she was still living there. Yeah, so the sources we need to use were Ancestry, Finder, Virtual Wall, as well as a bunch of information to kind of gather a little bit more on these battles that he might have participated in. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Okay.